and welcome to Imperial Business Week, where today we are celebrating Toys R Us's 25th anniversary in the UK. With me in the studio I have the International CEO and the UK CEO. Toys R Us is a privately owned company with 1,560 stores in 34 countries worldwide. Approaching the Christmas season, it's obviously going to be a target for parents and children alike, going to buy Christmas presents. However, with competitors such as cost leader Walmart, what is Toys R Us going to do to stand against this competition? In a recent article in the Financial Times, Toys R Us boasted their confidence, saying that they thought parents weren't going to stoop to lows of reducing on the value that they spent on their Christmas presents for their children. We're going to begin with Mr. Moon, CEO internationally, and ask her what the future holds for Toys R Us outside of the US. Good morning, Mr. Moon.
Good morning.
What is your vision for Toys R Us internationally?
My vision for Toys R Us is for it to maintain itself as an authority in the toy retail industry. It's very important to me that we maintain a healthy growth rate and for our competitive edge and focus on quality, selection and service to be sustainable. We aim to further the globalization of Toys R Us, to especially the emerging markets of China and India, and to achieve a greater brand recognition globally.
And what are your strategies for furthering this globalization?
Well, we know the toy trends in the Asian markets often mirror those in the US, and so we want to expand the 13 stores that we have in mainland China currently. China is an emerging market and it's very interesting because it offers us many suitable characteristics. Some of them include, for example, a large population. Many of our Chinese suppliers will be located locally and therefore reducing the transportation costs. Also, you have increasing incomes and higher expectations of the Chinese population. And also finally, you have the presence of only small-scale local competitors. So we hope that we can open 10 new stores in the first year, particularly in and around Beijing, which is an area that's very keen to enrich its business environment.
How will you achieve greater brand recognition?
So far, Toys R Us International operates in 33 countries around the world, and India is not one of them. And we are very keen to enter that market. I want to execute a strategy where we invest $35 million to develop a prominent marquee store in Mumbai, the commercial and entertainment center for India. And we hope that this will mirror the success of the marquee store in Times Square in New York. And we hope that this will put us in a good position for when we do open stores in India, which will be in the near future.
Thank you, Mr. Moon. We will now be talking to Mr. Herridge, CEO of the UK, and asking what Toys R Us has planned in the near future. Good morning, Mr. Herridge. I'd like to propose the fact that Tesco is the equivalent of Walmart in the US, say with their lower prices and cheaper toys. How do you compete with companies such as Tesco?
Well, good morning to yourself also. I'd like to start by saying you've correctly identified Tesco as one of our major competitors. Their motto is pile them high, sell them cheap. That's something that to a certain extent we identify with Toys R Us. Price is very important to our consumers, but we also feel we offer something a bit extra to Tesco. We've got a magical place that parents can bring their children to purchase toys and to develop some happy memories from childhood.
But what do you hope to do with this extra offer that you have?
First of all, we'd like to expand our bicycle market. We've got the largest range of bikes within the UK at the moment, but 40% of the market is controlled by Halfords, the bike specialist. We think there's a bit of discrepancy there. So we propose to start a marketing campaign with our mascot Jeffrey. We'd like him to become a cycling champion. We want him to promote our bicycle range and to promote cycling safety amongst children. We think Jeffrey would be ideal. He was very successful in the 90s at promoting the company. People who are now having children identified with him back then as someone who was fun, who they associated with toys that they got, and we think that the same would be true with children today.
So presumably this will boost your bike sales. Do you think this campaign offers any added benefits?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously bike sales are important to us, But we also recognise that companies, when they have the resources, should promote other causes which are relevant in society. For example, at the moment, there's an obesity epidemic. 7% of children in the UK are obese, and we'd like to help combat this by promoting our bike range. If we can get children onto bicycles, out cycling, for example, to school, then we can help control weight in the UK. As you also know, global warming is also very prominent at the moment. It's in the press all the time. We think that by instilling a love of cycling within youth of today, when they grow up and become adults, perhaps they'll use their cars less and cycle to work.
So as clear social responsibility is high on the agenda, are there any other projects planned for the UK?
We're looking into our online presence at the moment. We have got a very strong website of toys.com, and there are some less well developed ones, for example birthdaysarus.com. It's very much kind of a fancy kind of website. Children can log on to there, they can decide what they'd like on a cake, what games they'd like to play, for example, make a guest list. But that's kind of where it ends. We'd like to translate those ideas into a real party at our stores. We think it would appeal to parents. They'd know exactly what their child was after in a party. And a lot of parents are very busy nowadays. They've got quite a few children. They're probably both working. And it would really appeal to them to have someone who could help organise and run the party. We initially would convert sections of our leading stores in order to implement this, and then once it's established, expand further into the UK. We'd also look at forming strategic alliances with, for example, caterers and other service providers for parties to keep our costs down. And we'd also look at rebranding Birthdays Are Us, for example, to Parties Are Us.
Thank you, Mr. Herod. Well, it's clear Toys R Us have a clear vision for the future, which will hopefully enable them to celebrate success for more than just 25 anniversaries. The campaign, which recently received 200,000 hits on YouTube via their advert, has been relaunched this Christmas for 2009. We're going to leave you with the advert, and we'd like to see you next week again on Imperial Business Week. Goodbye.
There's a magical place, we're on our way there, with toys in the millions all under one roof. It's called Toys R Us.